My name is Daniel Martell. I'm the President and CEO of the Economic Council of Palm Beach County, and I am here to speak with my good friend Joe about economic development and the dream. A little bit about myself. I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida, and Palm Beach County dwarfs the opportunities that North Florida has to offer, in my humble opinion. We have come a tremendous long way, and are really it's quite amazing to see the gaps that we've been able to fill between both North and South Florida. But the Economic Council is made up of many diverse businesses. Our mission is to create an environment for business to prosper. So how do you do that? How do you create that kind of environment? Well, you do that by answering the call of Dr. King. And that was about opportunity. The opportunities that can be created are, as we've all said here, across racial lines, religious ethnicity. It's about coming together as a community and looking at our businesses holistically. Those opportunities always begin as well with education. And Board Member Andrews really hit the nail on the head with that. Those opportunities really, it's not just somebody wanting to go to college and enter into a business and become an accountant. It's similar to the problems that are being faced out in the Glades, as we've talked about. The agricultural community, for instance, needs welders. They need diesel mechanics. And those are jobs that we have to search for from outside of the county. Why can't we, closer to us, have better, stronger vocational training? That is the kind of opportunity that crosses those lines of ethnicity and race, and is exactly the kind of opportunities that I think Dr. King was trying to express. So with that, the Economic Council and the business community at large wants to work with everyone in the community to create these great opportunities, and we've got to create an environment for business to prosper, but we cannot do it alone. With that,
a certain time in life you reach a point where you can say what you want to say, and that's what you hear from me tonight. I'm one of the dedicated unemployed percentage that the politicians talk about. I don't have a job, and I still get money from the government. So what I say, you have to take with a grain of salt. And thinking about the dream, the state of the dream, it's gone. It's been hijacked, it's been stolen, and the dream has not even subtly, but has turned into a bleak nightmare. Big difference between a vision and a sight. What we have now is a sight. The dream is gone, all of the ideas have been changed and corrupted, and now we dream of every little boy and girl, instead of an education, having a gun. And we dream about, instead of justice rolling down the hills all over the world, we want every state to have guns. And the content of character, stuff like that he thought people should be measured by, they're being measured by the amount of money you make. Wide receivers make 10 times as much as school teachers. So the whole concept of the dream has been corrupted into a nightmare right before our very eyes. We haven't seen it because we are busy now loving St. John suits, Brooks Brothers suits, Bentleys, and all of the creature comforts that make us think that we're something. And we're evaluated by that in the community. We think more of the person who has the money, regardless of where he got it from. The drug dealer, the kids are looking up to the drug dealer, but he's the guy who looks successful because money makes us look successful. So the dream is rapidly becoming a nightmare. Guns, corruption, replacing good things in the community, and the people who are respected in the community are the ones who have achieved these creature comforts. And reminds me of Patrick Henry's speech when everybody was talking about the rebellion, and he said, I think some of you remember that, he told them all after all the speeches, he said, you know, our brothers are already in the field fighting this, while stand we here idle. Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased by the chains of slavery? And then I say, are we so interested in these creature comforts that we have, that end up, it's all a matter of stuff. We're just gathering stuff, and we're doing whatever is necessary for us to take this stuff, and we know what's going on, but we aren't saying anything. And I know we're in different positions, as I said. I'm unemployed and living from the government, so I can't get fired. Only way I lose my job, first morning I don't wake up, they let me go. I'll get everything from anybody else anymore. But we need to become aware of these things, and we need to stand up while the government, it's not the government, you know, they're worried talking about the gun lovers say that, well, I want a gun so the government won't take my rights away from me. And they're talking about rights of Second Amendment rights, rights to have a gun. And if I were a judge and the case came before me, I'd say, yeah, you can have a gun. You have the same kind of gun that Second Amendment rights give you, the musket. Take you 30 seconds to load it again. And it might shoot you. But the real thing that is happening for us, and the thing that Martin Luther King was trying to help us to do, is things like vote. You know, the government isn't shooting us, but they're taking our voting rights away every way they can, every chance they can, every time they can, and we're not doing anything about it. Thank God this time a lot of us who really needed to vote did turn out. But that is doing us more harm than anything else. That will give you the power. And Obama has realized that, and he's sought quantity to replace money. And for the first time in a lot of elections, people who spent the most money didn't necessarily win. So unless we really realize what the dream was saying and stand up and so forth, forget about it. A lot of us have been blessed. We've made more money than we should have made. We weren't worth what we paid. We're paid for it. It's time to give back. It's time to give back and give up some of the other things and stand, get some stiffness in your backbone and say, well, listen, no, I don't like that. I'm not voting for it. And if you are not going to try to get your right to vote, then you're not a friend of mine. And go visit somebody else. And I think that if we do this, we can reinstate what Martin Luther King wanted us to do. He was never for violence, right? He didn't want everybody in the world to have a gun. In fact, he lost a lot of political capital with the government because he was trying to say, well, I don't have anything against the people in Vietnam. I don't want to go over there shooting them for nothing. They haven't done anything to me. And he was trying to be peaceful. That's what we need to do. We need to confide more in our own standards, our own culture, and things like that. And we're not doing that. And I'm guilty. My brother Alvarez here as judges. That's our job. And all of the ministers, we're the people to whom you've entrusted the moral integrity of our government. We're supposed to be seeing that everybody lives right. You can't legislate love and goodness. It has to come from the heart. It has to come from teaching. And we're not doing that. So the state of the dream right now is on life support system. And as the physicians say, prognosis is guarded. That's all I have to say.
I'm Ronald Alvarez. I'm a juvenile court judge, which is a circuit judge position. I have been on the bench approximately 20 years, and of those 20 years, I have spent almost 14 of it voluntarily working in the juvenile division. We work with abandoned, abused, neglected, and delinquent children. And the judiciary and the juvenile division is where the rubber hits the road. It's where education, law enforcement, economic development, faith, all show their weaknesses and all show their strengths. We have many, many issues in the juvenile division. And let me go overall first. The state of the judiciary today, as far as Martin Luther King's dream, is better than it was many, many years ago. And I'll start off by saying that we have many, many more African American attorneys, staff, judges than we had many years ago, right? Okay. And keep, my mentor, and keep in mind, it was not the legislature, it was not the executive that brought you Brown versus Board of Education. It was a group of courageous judges who said enough is enough. And that's what we do in the juvenile division. And we have many issues. I've written down some, but I ran out of paper. Education. Education is a major issue with us. And the school board has been incredibly fantastic and generous. We now have liaisons from the school board in our courtroom. So we know in a moment's notice how that child is doing, what disciplinary referrals they have, how can we get them to the more appropriate school. And we're working with the school board. If it works, it's a two-way conversation. And that's the way this thing has to go. We have conversations with law enforcement. We've had conversations with the school board police about, you know, not every kid has to be arrested and brought down to juvenile court. That's a concept that really got its feet back in the 90s when we had all of these mythical teenage killers going around. And we've made some progress, I think, with the school board police and with the school themselves. Mental health is a very, very big issue with my children. And I'll make a comment, and I don't know what the solution is, but getting mental health, getting the black community to involve themselves in mental health services, I don't know why it's so difficult. Somebody's got to talk to me about that. But it's very, very needed. We have children that should be on medication that the parents do not want them on medication. It doesn't make any sense. Mr. Hill talked about connectivity. We have connectivity with schools, community, social agencies. And I'll kind of bring it to, let me bring it to an end by a challenge. Economic development. This is what I'm looking at. We have programs in the Department of Juvenile Justice, residential programs. We send them kids away. And most of them are useless. It's a waste of money. They come back even more indoctrinated in crime and criminal behavior than they went. But we do have this incredible program. It's in Avon Park. And it is a, three entities came together, the Department of Juvenile Justice, the National Home Builders Association, and the federal government. Every child that I have sent to this program either writes me a letter or comes by personally to thank me. They learn a trade. Plumbers, electricians, landscaping, culinary. And that's what we need in this community. I know we have some of them in the schools, but you know what? My kids can't get into those schools because their behavior is not good, their grades are bad. But you're absolutely right. We need welders. So let's get together. Let's put together a plan for a vocational school for the kids that will be someday not in prison,